There's one. McStick 110 will get it done on the Mississippi River even. Oh, it's the wrong kind. Dadgummit. Big old toothy critter. McStick 110 will even catch toothy critters. We are up here at the Mississippi River for the Riders Conference, Spro, Big Bite, Sunline, Gamakatsu. I'll tell you what, I mean, it's definitely something I don't want to catch in a tournament, but they pull just as hard as a lot of things you catch. So if you don't mind spending $8 or $9 on a stick bait to lose one to a northern every now and then, just know you can catch them on them. Might be what we came to catch. Oh yeah. Brand new IU shad color. Ain't very big. Kind of reminds me of when I was here for the tournament a few weeks ago. You can see these bass up here are full grown. Throwing a brand new color, McStick 110. It's a new IU shad color. I caught that northern while ago on a new color called Magic Purple, but you know, we've got probably 18, 20 colors now available in McStick 110, and man, I tell you what, it's just a bait that you can catch them on just dang near year round, especially when they're feeding up on shad. I mean, it's getting to be fall time up here on the Mississippi River. You pick up an old McStick 110, McStick 95, IU shad, Magic Purple, and you're gonna catch little fat ones like that, but eventually we're gonna catch some big ones. So stay tuned and we'll see what we can make happen. Basically what we're doing here, I mean, if you see, we're setting up here on the spillway below Lake Onalaska, and I mean, anytime you get into these fall time situations on any type of a river system, the bait fish are all going to start pushing back up into the creeks in smaller backwater areas of a river or a body of water. And you know, this is a perfect location in the fall, and you know, a lot of times even in the springtime you've got moving water. You've always got something happening here, and like I said, anytime fish are feeding on shad, a jerkbait's going to be a great way to catch them. When you talk about cadence, I mean, so many people like to fish a jerkbait different ways. I mean, that fish I basically caught almost dead stick, and I threw it right up below that little moving water right there and twitched it down a couple times and just let it stop and sit there, and that fish crushed it. But you know, you just got to kind of watch what's going on around you. So often the fish will tell you how you need to work your bait. If you start seeing a lot of bait flickering around and getting chased around, you probably need to speed your cadence up. If the action is really limited, that's when I really like to slow a jerkbait down. So many people think you gotta keep it moving all the time, and that's really not the case. I mean, a lot of times you can finesse them into biting a stick bait. You can, you know, coax them into biting it, and I probably fish a stick bait a lot slower than a lot of people do. You know, it doesn't hurt to even let that bait pause. Oh, one just got it right there. You saw I paused it for probably, you know, 2-3 seconds, and I mean, he just freaking crushed it. I don't know why the big ones aren't here, but they're definitely fun to catch. That was my problem a few months ago up here at the Mississippi River, and I didn't fish here. I think Odd Defoe fished one of these spillways and put a pretty good hurting on them, but you know, it's one of those things, you mix it up with a jerk bait, a swim bait, a jig. There's a lot of baits that'll catch them up here, but y'all know I would rather catch them on McStick 110 than anything out there. Boy, they're healthy up here. Definitely want it slower though. Probably one of the biggest things that you really want to focus on, and it's really pretty easy to do, is paying attention to where the current seams are. I mean, if you look right up through there, you can see where that foam is, and you can actually see the current break. And you know, largemouth really don't want to be in current. They want to be just to the edge of it. They want to set to the side of it where they can ambush stuff. So anytime you're fishing a running water situation, you really want to pay attention to where those current seams break off of a, you know, a piece of a concrete, the edge of a rock or a grass line or something like that. And you pay attention to where those current seams are and you're going to catch a lot of fish. And again, you want to mix it up. You know, I threw a jerkbait through there a few times, caught a couple, threw a crankbait through there a few times. Just keep mixing it up when you know there's a school of fish. I mean, this is definitely one of those places that there's just not one or two fish laying there. I mean, there's an absolute school of them there, and it's just all about keeping them guessing and keeping a new bait and fresh bait in front of them. We'll bite a rock crawler up there too, won't they? No big ones. You know, one of the cool things about working with Spro, I mean, when you look at the baits that Dean and John and Russ and all of us got coming now, I mean, Russ's new square bill, I mean the RkCrawler, I'm working on a new shallow diving RkCrawler, I mean the frog, they're just, the thing about a Spro bait, every dadgum one of them is proven to catch them, and whether you're just catching 2-pounders or 4-pounders, it'll get it done. You know, if you can see, so many people when you start talking about crankbaits kind of think, you know, a crankbait's one of them baits you just throw up there and wind it in, but both those bites that I just had, the one I just caught and the one I just missed, I mean, when that bait bound up in a little bit of grass or a little bit of rock, I'm just kind of giving it a hard pull, and that's when those fish are reacting, is when I'm making that bait deflect off of whatever it's getting caught up in down there. And so many times that's the key to catching them on a RkCrawler or really any other, you know, stick bait, crankbait, anything like that. You want to make that bait deflect, you want to make it do something different, you're going to get a lot more bites. Probably when I get into a more moving water situation like this, I'm going to work the bait a lot more aggressively. I mean, that bait's going to get tumbled around by the water that's moving, and you know, it's just one of those things, like I said, you kind of let the conditions dictate how you're going to fish a bait. And whenever you get in those moving water conditions, you just really got to speed it up and make it a little bit more aggressive. We're going to bring the walleye folks in now. I mean, it's unreal when I go up north, whether I'm here on the Mississippi River or up on Lake Champlain or Lake Oneida, how many walleye I catch on a McStick. I mean, a lot of people kind of overlook, and I say that, a lot of guys do throw a stick bait for walleye, but I mean, it's incredible how many walleye you'll catch on a stick bait when I'm smallmouth fishing. I mean, not intentionally trying to catch them, just fishing the bait and catching a lot of walleye. That one would go good in my frying pan tonight, I know that. Sure wish that sun would shine. Know what it is about fish up north, but they really bite better when the sun shines, it seems like. On this particular bait, I'm throwing straight out of the package, number 5 Gamakatsu round bin. I mean, it's the ones that come factory on it. No added weight. You know, like I said, when you're fishing the bait slow, you really need to be conscious of how that bait's weighted. But when you're fishing it along pretty fast, I mean, these baits are so neutral buoyant out of the package that, you know, you can get away with taking them straight out of the package and fishing them. There's a good one. Oh, he come off. Dadgum is a smallmouth too. Dadgummit. Old smallmouth bit magic purple. That must have been what that one that bit me a while ago was. You know, one of the big things that when you're throwing a bait like a Spro RkCrawler, I mean, anytime I'm paralleling, I mean, I want to try to set the boat at the depth that I feel like the fish are at. I mean, I'm going to try to get, you know, up in that 5, 7, 8 foot range, wherever I feel like those fish are set up. That's where I want to try to keep my boat. I want to keep that bait in that depth range as long as I can. You know, when you're fishing something like this, it comes back to that current seam. A lot of times when you're below flowing water, there will be a back eddy, And that's usually where those fish try to set up, is right on that back eddy, and that's basically what we're doing. I mean, you can see I'm really not hitting the trolling motor very much, but the boat isn't really moving that much. So I'm just trying to ride this eddy down through here and keep that bait right in that eddy position. A little bitty one. Thing about places like this, I mean, they just keep coming. You know, you can catch 4 or 5 and kind of thin them out for a minute, and then you'll have another group of them that move up in there, you know. Thing that's always cool about fishing moving water. New IU shad, Spro RkCrawler 55. He'll grow up to be a solid 3-pounder one of these days. Might be better. Yep. Not a giant, but he feels better than the ones I've been catching. It's the right kind. Not too bad. Still not quite what you need for Mississippi River tournament, but it's still not a bad one, man. I tell you what, when you can catch them like this, I mean, we've been gone from this for like 5 or 10 minutes. We come back, start catching them again. Spro RkCrawler IU shad 55. Magic purple, might be a good one. It's the right kind. Ah, another dadgummit. Northern just like the old magic purple. That's all there is to it. A little better than the first one. You know, when you step back to this morning when we first got started, I felt like with the cloud cover we had here on the Mississippi River that I needed to throw some kind of reaction bait. I mean, cover some water, and I wanted to go somewhere where I really felt like the fish were going to be active. And the first bait we picked up was a Spro McStick 110. We've got 2 new colors available this year. This is the IU shad, and then you saw me catch a couple northern, maybe a few small bass on the 110 magic purple, but just great shad representation baits. You know, a couple of the fish I caught dead sticking the bait, fishing it real slow, letting it pause. When I throw a McStick this time of year, I'm usually always throwing it on a 6-3 gear ratio reel. It's engineered by Daiwa. I throw it on my 6/8 Falcon Cara split grip series rod, and usually throw that bait on a few different lines. Today I'm throwing it on 14-pound sniper. I mean, I'm trying to fish the bait relatively fast. I'm not worried about the line sinking the bait, so 14-pound sniper is a good line to get that done with. So that's the jerk bait setup, and then we picked up the old RkCrawler. You know, we had a little bit of depth up there. We had some rock. We had some current seams. The first fish I caught on Spro RkCrawler 55 in the spring craw color. I mean, you can see that bait, it's been used a little bit, caught a lot of fish, faded out a little bit, but then picked up one of the new colors. IU shad's also available in the RkCrawler 55, and it's gonna be a great shad color. I know the first year we didn't have any shad colored baits, and a lot of people screamed for them, and been a lot of smallmouth, a lot of bass caught on that IU shad colored RkCrawler. And as far as gear ratio, or as far as the gear that I use to throw the RkCrawler on, I'm throwing it on a 7-foot Cara cranker. It's a 417 medium action rod. It's got plenty of you know, rod to make long casts, but it's got a lot of tip. So on a bait like a RkCrawler, a small treble hook bait, it definitely gets the job done. Again, I'm throwing 14-pound Sunline Sniper, just the line that I feel like is, when you're not trying to get that bait deep, you really don't need a 8 or 10-pound test line. So a 14-pound Sniper is a good all-around cranking line. So So be sure and check all these baits out. Check out all the new colors of RkCrawlers and McSticks, and get out and do some fall fishing. Hey, and don't forget to share, like, and tag a friend on this week's vlog to have a chance to win a giveaway sponsored by Sunline, Spro, Gamakatsu, and have fun fishing.